The Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by Mid-Carolina Service Company.
Mid-Carolina Service Company is the first name to search for your residential or commercial HVAC needs in Lexington and surrounding areas.
Just go holler at Jason and Clint. They'll hook you up on the air conditioners, on the restaurant equipment, refrigerators, refrigeration, ice machine repair. They've been doing this for years. I know them cats forever.
Family owned and operated since 2006, they pride themselves in their quality work and customer relationships. Call 803-356-4153 or visit midcarolinaserviceco.com for a no obligation quote for service today.
The Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by True Brilliance Entertainment.
True Brilliance is a production, promotions, and management company dedicated to connecting artists and producers across the Carolinas to music industry professionals.
Several of their clients have placements both domestic and internationally as a result of their services.
Are you an artist or producer looking to build meaningful relationships within the music industry? Then True Brilliance is for you. Check them out at paramilitary.com. That's spelled P-A-I-R-A military.com.
This episode of the Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by Bob's. Bob's is a Columbia-based retailer of over 100 Black-owned products from 20 Black-owned businesses. Bob's offers a wide range of items from household cleaning, cosmetics, and everything in between. With every visit to Bob's, you support Black-owned businesses, giving them the opportunity to grow and establish connections with our community. Bob's is located inside the Noma warehouse at 2222 Sumter Street in Columbia, South Carolina. Visit their website, weshopbobs.com, for in-store pickup or to find out more. Bob's can also be found via social media on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at weshopbobs. When you stop by, tell them the Hilltop Glove sent you. Bob's brings quality Black brands to the Columbia community. The Hilltop Glove Podcast is sponsored by Red Rooster Sports Bar and Grill. Red Rooster is your neighborhood bar and grill serving the best wings, burgers, and baskets in the Met.
Like the amazing food, the bar is always on tap, and there's plenty of screens to watch the big game. Red Rooster is the Midland's premier meetup spot for local car and bike clubs, fraternities, and sororities.
Staff is dedicated to accommodating all kinds of parties and events. If you're looking to catch a game, have a bite, and a drink, look no further than the Red Rooster.
Red Rooster is located at 7500 Wilson Boulevard, Columbia, South Carolina. For more information, visit redroostersportsbar.com or visit them on Facebook and Instagram at Red Rooster Sports Bar. Go where the winners go.
Welcome to the Hilltop Glove Podcast.
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 Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Hilltop Glove Podcast. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with William Patterson and Michael Murray. Michael is an entrepreneur, photographer, music lover, and podcaster. William is a father and podcaster, both located in Columbia, South Carolina. William and Michael are the hosts of the Cultivated Ignorance podcast, where Black unity, empowerment, and education meets comedic, social commentary, and entertainment news. Started in 2018, they have interviewed an array of guests from poets, photographers, musicians, activists, and professors. They discuss all things Black, beautiful, and ridiculous, engaging topics such as the souls of Black folk, the mask of masculinity, defining Black liberation, and the war on whites, and money over matrimony. How y'all fellas doing today?
What's going on? Feeling good.
I had to select some selective topics, you know.
I like that. I like that.
Especially the one on white.
A lovely intro. Thank you.
No, you did a great job. I mean, we're doing great, man. Glad to be here on y'all's world famous podcast. You know?
Oh, thanks.
Be quiet. You're famous, man. I'm just happy to have y'all sitting down in an official capacity.
For sure.
And just as always, we're going to start off with the boring stuff and get that out of the way. Our audience, of course, some of them may be cross-audience folks, so they may already know you. But would you just give our audience a little background of each of you two, what you do, where you came from, and some of your childhood experiences?
Okay.
Who'd like to start?
Yeah, so I'm Will. I podcast. I vibe. You know, I work in logistics. So I guess for me, you know, growing up as an only child, I think you get like a very, I don't know, this weird view of the world. Like you're the only one going through it.
Yep.
You know, with that, I guess I've had to really take on other people's experiences throughout life to really learn exactly, you know, all these different cultures, how different people act. Because I didn't get that from home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just me and mom holding it down.
Hey,
What's
shout
your
out to
sign?
Taurus.
Taurus. Okay.
Yeah.
Mom. It's a true Taurus, too.
I don't believe in none of that. It don't matter. Everybody's stubborn. Everybody. So yeah, man, you know, just podcast, record, take care of my kid. That's pretty much it.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
Sounds
man.
good.
I'm Mike, also only child. Shout out to Black Mamas Worldwide.
For real.
Hey.
Yeah, man, I work in IT to keep the food on the table. But of course, my true passion is art, people, community. I work with a lot of arts organizations. I'm on the executive committee for Alternate Roots. I got a business called The Playlist, where we do performance art events. I'm a photographer, poet. More than anything, I'm just a lover out here, just trying to love on people and myself.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, much like Will, had just me and my mom's growing up. I do have brothers and a sister, but I didn't really grow up with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say my mom is such a people person. She's a serial flirter, just like me. And
No, cereal. What?
serial flirter.
Serial flirter.
Serial
Yep.
flirter. And because of that, I think a lot of the world got opened up to me really early on because I'm just so open to other people's experiences and just
Yeah.
talking to people and just relating to people in general. But still, at the same time, yeah, when you're an only child, like the whole world is about you and it's a beautiful thing. A beautiful thing.
And
So you gotta...
I'll never forget when I was little, there was a distinct moment in class where I was like, I wonder if I'm the only one in this and everybody else is just a robot around me.
Wow.
Never had that. Didn't have that, but I did have that wake-up call, though, because I used to want to live with my brothers and sisters so bad. I was like, why can't I have my siblings? Then I realized, like, I get to be selfish with all my stuff. Like, I
Yeah.
ain't got to share nothing. I got to just...
Y'all like son of a gun. God
Good life.
dang.
It's a good life.
So,
That's a
like,
brag.
how did y'all meet? Like,
Yeah.
We met in high school.
okay.
Yeah, we
What
met
high
in
school?
Ridgeview High School.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Reggie. Stand
Yeah.
up. Go ahead,
So-
Reggie.
Yeah, we used to play PE back in the day together.
Wait, y'all used to play
Bro,
PE?
that's like the defining thing of
Yeah.
the beginning of our friendship.
The final
Oh, wow.
moment was, I don't know if you remember, what was it?
It was NBA Live, one of them years.
NBA
It had to be 02 or 03.
Whenever somebody got a block, what is it called? SWAT cam.
SWAT cam.
Oh,
SWAT
SWAT
cam.
cam.
They would show the SWAT cam.
I remember SWAT cam.
We would
Yeah,
play
yeah.
SWAT cam.
And so like we'd be playing, and every time we get a block or something, SWAT cam.
corny
Y'all
shit
really know each other.
Yeah.
Deep in the
Y'all ain't
game.
lying.
And Mike used to wear a Kobe jersey every day.
And I still got that jersey to this
Oh,
day.
my gosh.
The number 8 jersey, too. Not the,
Yeah, the
Oh,
old
not the post
Yeah,
situational jersey. Yeah, that's what we call that. That's the
We'll
post
talk- we'll talk-
situational. Yeah, we'll
we'll
talk
talk-
about that.
Yeah, man, since high school, and then we had like a hiatus. We didn't really talk a whole lot on the first year of college.
Mhm.
But they were like, we reconnected because I guess it was just meant to be or whatever. And then, yeah, man, just
What college did you all hit?
Yeah.
Midlands Tech.
Okay.
Ain't that wrong? That's college.
No,
I
you're
went to USC Sumter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at least y'all still stayed, friends. That's how I was trying to
That's-
feel y'all
yeah.
history. Because I'm
So
like,
go back.
they got a podcast together, but like, how do they even know each other? I'm like, are they related? Like,
Might as well.
There was a couple years where we were like real, not distant, but we just weren't.
It's like we was aware of each
Clicked up
other.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At all.
He was hanging around with some choice friends. I was hanging.
Choice friends. See, that's somebody that you know. They telling you.
Like, I
he call
don't
you
need to
out
judge-
on it.
Yeah.
Call
Not
you
completely
out.
wrong. It's a miracle I'm not in jail or anything. But yeah.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
But no,
Well,
man.
That's good to hear. I hope you're not in jail. I hope
Oh,
you're
yeah.
out here in the free world with the rest of us.
I'm happy to be
Living it
here.
up.
But you guys are true creatives. So like, how do you guys curate the space for creatives? Like in the community. I like the way that you're bringing people together with cultivated ignorance, but how did you form that?
That's a him question.
That's a him question.
He's the
Him.
art curate guy.
You. That's
I
directly
don't use
towards you.
curate very much in my language.
I don't know. Will considers himself a creative. I know that he is just open to discussions with creatives and stuff.
Mhm.
And that's why our dynamic lies. Is my head is always in the clouds. Will is like a very realist. Like he can bring me back down to earth. But sometimes I don't want to be down to earth. I'm gonna go back in the clouds. So I think with Cultivated Ignorance is just being open to the dialogue of different perspectives. We've never been a podcast to just do a show, just for views or for clout. Any guests we've had, like we wanted to have a unique conversation or something. That, even if it wasn't a unique conversation, that something that just wasn't being talked about enough.
Mhm.
Like especially when it comes to like men's sensuality or sex work. Like
Mhm.
for like straight men to be talking about sex work,
Mhm.
that conversation can get real gross real quick. And I think we've had some really good discussion on that. We talked about Afro pessimism. Like me and him we'll go back and forth all the time about abolition because he knows that
Nah, we're good on that.
Oh Lord, this is serious.
That's what I'm saying. It's just so
You
many
would
different
enjoy
things.
their podcast, Omar.
I know
You
I
would
already know,
like their
'cause I
topics.
can already tell.
Yeah.
I think you would.
I'm gonna have to put y'all on my podcast. What's that? Because I get to listen to stuff. You know, I listen to y'all stuff here and there, but I haven't ran through a whole season yet.
Yeah.
Oh man,
But yeah, I'm gonna have to run through the season.
just
No.
going through it. I think that's.
What was
just
the
we do.
best episode to you guys for on Cultivating Ignorance that people should tune into?
Okay, so for education, it definitely has to be the one with Frank on Afro-pessimism.
Yeah,
What's his last name, Mike? Dr.
Wilderson.
Frank
Frank Wilderson
Wilderson, yeah. It was highly informative.
for sure.
I've never felt so dumb. He's a professor at what, UCLA or something like that?
Yeah, no, it's somewhere in New York, man.
Oh, it was New York? Okay.
I believe.
But
Don't let me get
incredibly smart,
For
incredibly.
sure.
Open your eyes to so much stuff. God, we've had some real funny episodes too, though.
But I think, because I was to say, for me, it would probably be the Manosphere episode with Feet Signifier, FD Signifier. I
Oh
don't know
my
if y'all know
God,
him.
that thing was
Mm-mm.
fun.
Look up FD. He's blown up over the last year.
What's his name?
FD Signifier.
Okay.
Look him up immediately. This guy is amazing. He's doing God's work. We did an episode about the Manosphere. Do y'all know what the Manosphere is?
Mm-mm.
Yep, I know what that. I heard about that thing.
You
I
need to
looked
know
this
so
up.
you can watch
Yeah.
out for
Say it again.
Yeah,
It's
tell
a
me.
hot mess. It's a hot mess.
basically just this alpha male, like super toxic woman of blue.
Supposed it.
Sex.
That's another
Supposed.
thing.
Yeah.
Is that like a
But it's very
mindset?
fragile. Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. It's like a movement of establishing your dominance over women. And
It's like Fresh and
society.
Fit. You ever seen Fresh and Fit podcast?
Yes, actually,
That's-
oh my gosh.
It's real manosphere stuff. Yeah.
You've experienced it.
Oh
Girl, you
my
experienced
gosh. That is so crazy because I have seen that and I've listened to them and I'm like, I don't agree with none of this shit they
Myron.
saying. I really don't. Like,
Myron's a tyrant.
Myron,
Myron might be locked
yeah.
up. I don't believe in prisons, but Myron might need to be locked up. I don't know.
Oh my Lord
Um,
Jesus.
oh my
But yeah,
gosh.
we had an episode with Feek. That's probably our most viewed episode on YouTube, which was, and it was so perfect because he was just about to go into his whole manosphere thing, and we caught him just before he did it. And so he got to just explore his ideas freely and just not give a damn about what he was going to say. That was like my favorite. Between that and probably Glamazon Tommy. I don't know if y'all know her. She's a sex coach. Her fine self.
Issues.
Just having a conversation.
He honest.
I'm sorry, I lost
At
the
least
moment.
he honest.
He like thinking and
I
visualizing.
went back there
and
for a
stuff.
second. That was great too. I don't know if you had any other ones.
I was about to look through the list, but I didn't want to get distracted. But all of them have been great.
Yeah. So what is it like being on a podcast and creating your own topics and bringing your own people in? Have you guys learned a lot from it?
I've just learned to talk to different people about just the most random things.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised what you can learn from somebody about one thing that they're completely not on there for.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's always been probably the best part of it. Just
It's like a surprise.
Having
Yeah.
a conversation.
absolutely.
You never really know what you have in common with somebody until you have a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And even in reverse, like I would say my favorite part, of course, meeting different people and having conversations, but learning how much like me and Will have diverged
Yeah.
mentally completely from one
Yeah,
another.
from where we started this podcast, we've definitely gone down two roads. we definitely split off at the fork.
For sure. But there's that mutual respect there still. And there's always that willingness to see the other side of things.
Gotcha.
Like, even if it fights against everything, because I know it's stuff I'd be saying, like, fights against everything Will has built into his, like, foundation in his world. But even still, I see where he's coming from, too. And just being able to do that with your best friend and being able to look back on previous episodes to see the stuff we were talking about before and then having different guests on that changed our minds as well. It's just good, man. And I
You know
love
what?
being able to just curate our own, because the internet, like, we don't be on their social media a whole lot. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's part of why our promotion is so sucky. I will say that. 'Cause
Right.
we don't be on these social media streets a lot because it's just too much.
Yeah.
People just
It's
be saying
trash.
stuff.
Some of the stuff's trash.
It's trash.
And you got to be riding around in the trash street. But that's where the thoroughfare is. That's where everybody moves through.
Yeah.
So you got to get in it. But now it's cool hearing y'all's perspective because since you all have such a long history with each other, and like you said, you grow up, you all have, like you said, you have certain divergence on certain things, and you grow, but it doesn't force you all apart though. It doesn't force you
Yeah.
to try to leave one or the other, etc. And I think your audience, I know they probably really respect that.
Yeah.
Because
Y'all
it
real
allows
true.
them.
hope
Yeah,
so.
you're being true.
Y'all
with
true.
yourself. Yeah.
Every episode, y'all true. Y'all don't
Yeah.
sugarcoat nothing. Y'all literally go into our next question, being your authentic self refers to acting in a way that shows your true self and how you feel. With having a brand, how is it important for you to show up as your true authentic self and represent that?
I don't know. For me, that is the brand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're not being who you actually are, like people can see through that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think it's extremely important. I don't know. Like, I'm one of those people who really I'm really not progressive like that.
What do you mean by progressive?
Hey, okay. This is where I be wanting to hold my tongue.
So,
Be your authentic self. Be your authentic self. I want to see your
I'm always
self.
teetering on canceled. But
Don't walk on no eggshells over here.
like I'm not comfortable with trans people and things like that. I'm not comfortable in like ill kind of way, but just not used to seeing it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to express those things while being on the internet because you think you're just gonna get canceled.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
But I feel like it's almost my duty to stay true to that because throughout the course of the podcast, I've definitely learned
Mm-hmm.
and become more comfortable with certain subjects and things like that. But also, I want to make sure people know that it's okay to not be
Okay.
not necessarily okay, but just not like super comfortable at first when you experience something like growing up here in the South.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, like
We weren't exposed to that until
Exactly.
like
You would be inauthentic.
literally we got
Yeah,
older.
As if
Yeah.
you were extremely ready to
yeah.
receive and be receptive to it. It wouldn't make sense.
But it's all about learning from people and
Mm-hmm.
just trying to be more accepting of different things,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But it's okay. Like in the South, we don't in the South we don't talk about a lot of shit.
No, we
Yeah.
don't. No, we don't.
And
Not at all.
being in the African American community, you know,
Exactly.
that's a whole nother stigma we were talking about.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. We don't. We have a hard time of dealing with things that aren't. How would you say? That don't put us in the normal light of the world.
Yeah.
Anything that throws you on the outside, we'll run away from or put sheets on it.
But you'll get there eventually.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually.
I think it's getting better because it has to. Like,
It definitely is
You have
getting
no
better.
choice.
I keep saying that, especially with because what you just said. Like a lot of people wouldn't say that. They wouldn't admit that they're uncomfortable around trans people.
Right.
Yeah.
I think about the mental health of most content creators because most people to get on have to play that part of I agree with the masses,
Mm-hmm.
or it's got to be so far opposite that it's going to be like spicy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how you sell it.
But
Yeah,
that goes
exactly.
right into the next question. Have you ever had to abandon your true self or how you feel for the bigger purpose?
So as far as podcasting, or just
Yeah,
like,
in general. Have you ever had to like sugarcoat how you feel about something to
Sell them.
sell
them
it?
tickets.
Yeah.
I've had to probably tone down my
Yeah.
stance.
Okay. Talk about
I've
it.
had to tone it down a little bit, you know. But no, I'm never like really abandoned my true self.
Good.
Yeah, that's just
Well,
why.
I'm putting this
That's
out
some
for
sucker
y'all.
shit.
That's how for y'all. So y'all know Little Richard back in the day. You know he's Little Richard, right?
Yeah,
You
Mhm.
can't hide that, right? His band members, they would go on stage with him before they got. He was like, whoa. Like, what do we do? I remember watching this in the movie and reading about it because I would see this is real. He was like, y'all got makeup on? And they'd be like, no. I need y'all to put y'all makeup on. And they'd be like, what's wrong with you? Why you want us to put our makeup? Why you want us to put You can wear makeup. Why we got to wear makeup? He said, y'all want to get paid, right? And they were like, yeah. Then y'all gonna get pretty before y'all go out there on that stage. And that thing blew my mind. And I was thinking about it, I was like, they had to abandon themselves a little bit to go out there and make that money. They
I
had
used to be
get
scared of him
30.
as a child.
I know.
Legit. It was like into the
Be
older. I
intense.
used to be scared of him because it was just too much for me.
we did get the super plastic surgery, Little Richard. When by the time we was like,
Yeah,
you didn't get
yeah.
regular Little
you didn't
Richard.
get Like, he was always good looking person, but like when he had all the plastic surgery, there was a lot going on.
Yeah, he came out looking crazy.
But I want to say to that point, I was just thinking about this because my birthday's coming up next week. I was thinking about like life in your early 20s. I don't know if y'all can relate to this. Life in my early 20s versus in our 30s. I feel so much about 20s and teenage years. I was like performing so much for other people, like
Bro.
constantly.
Right. I agree.
Like, especially if you're in a relationship.
Yeah.
What's she gonna think about this?
You
What
might
if I do
sell your
this?
soul. You might
You know
just
what I
sell your
mean?
soul.
Be
You might
quiet.
be
That's how they be
liable.
catching them little kids. Go ahead.
But since I hit my 30s, especially now, like mid 30s, like I feel so comfortable in myself. Like as far as just saying how I feel, I've had friends like say, "Yo, I don't know if you should be saying all that on the podcast because your job might hear it or whatever like that." And I'm not saying anything like I don't think I'm saying anything like super outrageous, but like I'm at the point where if I get punished for saying how I feel, that's how I feel about Will. Saying how he feels. Like I would never. I might call out something I think is problematic or something, but like I would never be like, "Don't say that shit." Like,
Yeah.
Because I feel like you just got to be into yourself, and it
Yeah.
just feels so much better. Like,
And that's the problem with the world is right now. People just sugarcoating everything. That's
so,
why
like,
these
where's the real
kids,
conversation?
yeah. That's why these
They're
kids scared to
actors.
talk.
They're
Everybody,
all
yeah.
actors. And what happens when I always like to say this, what happens when you leave the stage or they turn the lights off?
this is what I'm saying.
Like you don't
We
even
got
know your
problems.
true self.
Exactly.
Like how you gonna
Exactly.
find your true self or know your true self if you over here lying to yourself?
Yeah.
I especially feel for that, and shout out to women, of course. I know women be going through it, but especially with men, like as far as being a man, I know how much we perform all the time, like constantly performing masculinity all the time, and how much that kills us inside, and that hurts women in return too, because now we just acting hyper masculine, and it's just not helping nobody.
It's not. I like this point you're talking, because we had we were in podcast, recording a podcast, and we got on this topic this is when we were in Greenville. We were talking about the need for a man to be a specific type of man in order to please the woman, and also what the woman needs from a man, and her wanting to also be in a position of power and influence over the man, and how we've created this weird dichotomy now because of these spaces that we're in, especially with social spaces, and the fact that you have so many voices speaking on these things. I don't think anybody knows how to be a man or a woman anymore.
We just all fucked up.
Yeah, I really don't.
We all messed up. Like
we jacked up right now. I don't think.
Who you want to be today?
Yeah, what do you want to be today?
You want to operate out your masculine or your feminine side?
Yeah.
Which one?
I mean, I think part of it is the freedom of just doing whatever feels right. I think that's good. I think in the like social, what society tells you what should be a man and what should be a woman, I think that's what fucks people up.
Yeah.
I think just doing whatever feels good is the good thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes people think that's like people being confused, but that's just everybody just trying to figure out everything on a regular basis anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just doing whatever feels good is the thing to do when it comes to that.
I agree with you on that. I really do. I was having a conversation with my wife about that. The fact that I don't care any of the mechanisms, thought designs that go into what you're doing. Does it hurt you when you're doing it?
Right.
That's my thing. If you're feeling some kind of pain or discomfort when you're doing whatever you're doing, acting the way you're acting, whether it be in public or private, maybe you should rethink it and do the thing that makes you feel good. Right. So as long as you aren't hurting anybody, that's my big caveat. As long as you aren't hurting or taking away from anybody else in order to be yourself, then cool. I have no issues with it. Like people say, if you like it, I love it, man. Get some more of it. But outside of that, I know that's something, especially being a podcaster, and I know you all know this, we want people to listen to our podcast. You don't want it. You don't make it so that it just sits out there and in the netherworld regions of the internet and dies. You want people to pick it up. So have you all as podcasters had to have issues with keeping an audience based on what content you're putting out and the topics that you're discussing and et cetera? And then do you ever tend to sway your topics or your discussion in order to bring in more viewership?
So my feeling is the people who going to listen, the people who going to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we could do better with social media.
We need to hire somebody. We need to hire one of y'all.
But, man, I think in the past, we've definitely done certain topics to try and get plays or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But damn, like the older we get, the worse it feels. It feels horrible. Like we've been on like little mini sabbaticals lately because like we just find that there's nothing to talk about. Because we do a decent amount of current event stuff, but if it's if it's not going to push the conversation forward at all, what's the point? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like I think we talked about Dave Chappelle, and this is where our show took a sabbatical. We talked about Dave Chappelle for 3 straight episodes about him like being like fucked up towards trans people or whatever, and him not caring about what he said. 3 episodes. That's way too much for one man.
Entirely too much.
Do you ever feel like that's a good question? All right, I like this. I like this because all right, so I follow certain podcasts, et cetera, and they have the same issue. Like, all right, is there ever a time where you feel like they say you're beating a dead horse? You just got to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's exactly how we felt with that episode.
You gotta stop.
Those serious episodes. Because it was like, because I think what it was is like Dave, just like a lot of people, everybody's in here is millennials. That was one of our favorite comedians growing up.
Yes.
Like the Chappelle show, like rocked everybody's high school.
Yeah.
Come on.
Turn it upside down. So to see somebody who literally quit show business because he said that he felt like he was being laughed at and not laughed with anymore. Mm-hmm. And then to come back and do that to like trans and gay people. And they're saying like, we're not laughing with you. You're laughing at us.
Yeah.
And him like, nah. Like that was just like such a wow.
But you just said this. You just said this.
You just contradicted yourself. Yeah.
But we also knew that was what everybody was talking about because that was when The Closer came out. That was when the other, Netflix specials came out. So we felt like it was going to be relevant to the audience and people were listening, but like we felt like it was like, ugh.
It didn't feel right. It didn't feel good. So
at what point were we still driving the conversation for? He's just being rude.
Yeah. And do you think there's ever and I like that you all brought this up. Do you think there's a time where, and I don't know if you consider it being morality, but do you stop that movement and stop pressing that point on that person not just because it's good, it makes you feel better not to do, but because it's in the best interest of the community at hand, such as with stuff with the guy that they call Ye now. Like, it's just a good decision not to promote it at all. Just leave it alone where it is and let it die instead of.
I don't know if we've ever made a conscious decision to not talk about somebody because.
No, we definitely made a conscious decision not to talk about Ye or Kanye or whatever.
Did we?
Yeah, you
definitely
did.
said,
Yeah. You was
when
like, we not going to talk about it. I listened to the episode. You like, we not going to bring him
I don't
up.
remember that.
Yeah.
I got the worst memory of all time.
That's how bad it was. Like, this was like peak. He was like doing the wild stuff, like pulling up at the birthday party.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do remember that.
We was like, nah, we not. Absolutely not.
There's a point. You just got to let it.
But I'm so glad you asked that question because that's exactly what I feel about, not to make this a conversation about Ye, but that's what I feel like keeps happening is people say they want to help him, but they keep putting him in front of a microphone and the camera.
He don't need that. He can find his own if he really
can do
wanted
that.
one.
Why are you trying to help somebody?
He need a therapist.
You get exactly, but he don't want whatever, so let him do whatever.
Yeah.
Y'all can't help this man by giving this man a public platform every time you quote unquote want to help him.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely for the good of the community and that particular person.
Yeah. It's good not to continue to, because this is the thing. I know there's easier access, and this is cool having you all on podcasts talking about podcasts, but there's easier access now than there ever was to create and produce content.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day, if we were doing what we were doing, we'd be in a radio station.
Yeah.
Like, having to pay radio money to have a radio board with radio mics doing radio things, right? Mm-hmm. You don't have to do that now. And the freedom that comes with that is amazing. It's immense. And allows you, for instance, if we want to shine a light on something that was happening in our community that needs that light on it, we can do it. But with that being said, we're still human. We're still affected by things on the outside. So those big contrasting events, we still want to cover and have a need to have some kind of coverage for it in the sense of letting our folks know how we think about it. Because they care. And they want to know your opinions and your thoughts about it. Yeah. But I always like to tell, and Kevin and I, we speak with that. Skip, we say, hey, there's a certain point where I'll talk about it in closed doors, but I don't need to keep proselytizing it and bringing it out for other folks to understand or try to have some understanding for me that I can't really give them.
Yeah, like I don't put those conversations on Facebook because I don't really care about anybody's opinions on Facebook. So it's good to have a pod, you know.
I'm here to talk and disappear.
Yeah, because on Facebook, people just ranting and projecting, and it's just, okay, are you even really thinking clearly with your typing?
Yeah.
And why are you typing all of this? You have a free platform. You can start a pod.
I tell everybody to start a podcast.
Yeah.
Now, some came to me work. They said, hey, I said, start a podcast.
Yeah.
They said, what?
It's
I'm like,
free.
yeah, start a podcast. It's
you like
free.
to talk so much?
Get it out.
You like to talk so much? Go ahead. Let's see what you about.
Let's see what it is.
I thought you about to fight.
You want to see what it's
Sorry.
Bring yourself over here.
That's the Murphy.
Even though I think everybody should be able to start a podcast. I don't listen to everybody's podcast because that'd be a lot too.
It's too much.
I.e. Fresh and Fit. But
that's a good one.
Yeah. That's your jam?
That's my jam, right?
You be watching all of Fresh and Fit?
Yeah.
With all the ladies,
Yeah, which one is the one?
You said Fresh
it's not
and
even Myron.
It's Fresh.
Fresh. The one who looks like he does not get any girl but be lying. When the story came out
I just
about
be
him
laughing
paying.
about
Seriously?
the girls.
Yeah, the story came
the
out
girls
about him
that they be like setting up. This portion of the podcast is brought to you by Lynx Recording Studio.
Lynx is a premier audio and video recording studio in the greater Charleston area with 4 completely different booths, multiple peripherals, and 4 producers. They have the ability to service all facets of audio and video creativity.
If you need to record a song, a podcast, create a demo, or even take headshots and complete drops for Hollywood film, they've done it.
Call them at 843-879-9386 or find them online at lynxrecordingstudios.com. That's Lynx, Lynx, recordingstudios.com.
Stuff. And I'd be like, you're really about to fall for this. Like,
they just there to promote themselves.
That's what it is. They say what they say. There's no such thing as bad promotion.
Yeah,
and, you know?
I never subscribe to that.
You don't subscribe to that? You think there's a such thing as bad promotion?
If I get notoriety for being an alleged pedophile, is that not bad promotion?
You know, it's a good question.
Yeah, you're right.
We were on somebody else's podcast.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Priest Jacobs.
Yeah.
And we were talking about maps.
Mm-hmm.
You know what a map is?
What do you mean? Google Maps?
I did the same thing. I didn't know what it was either.
That mess people up because they're like, what are you talking about, man? It's a minor attracted persons.
What?
This is a real thing. They got straight up. They got people like you. Look, y'all know how y'all look. Look, because they're trying to change the conversation around this. So they have straight up university professors writing about why it's good for people to be minor attracted persons and how it's not
good for people.
Yes, I had to go read this man's writing, and I was like, yo, he's crazy. He has a whole book. There's a book.
What's the name
of
the
book?
I need to.
Let me give you that book so you can.
Because I have seen something like this on TEDx of discussions around like pedophilia, and I'm seeing what's happening, and it's interesting to me that it's happening now of all times.
Yeah, when you wouldn't think something like that would be, you wouldn't think you'd be able to get something like that and place it out there in public. It would seem like people would pile on and destroy it, but they don't. Instead, you start to see it start coming up. And I'm like, though, this is a really
isn't that
weird
part
thing.
of the problem with pedophilia? Like, people don't talk about it. Like, even people who like are sick.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
People who are sick
That's a very
and know
good
they're
question.
attracted to little people.
Yeah.
But you don't want to act
You don't
on
wanna
it. So
act
like,
on it.
what are your avenues?
That's what
To,
I was
like, get
saying.
help.
You either go into jail or somebody's gonna kill you. That's what
But
it looks
but
like
you
because
never-
you can't act on it.
Yeah.
Because you can't act on it.
Yeah.
And if not, then you're just gonna stay locked in whatever situation you are in and start having some kind of mental
Yeah.
evaluation.
Breakdown.
So that's what the TEDx was about, was how do we deal with it, like Will said.
Mhm.
But again, it's like such a thin line, and not to make this the whole thing, but when anything primarily benefits white people, shit can get out of control real fast.
Oh, I like that point you just made.
That's what, because like we were having like a back and forth about that. Will was saying like he didn't like how, I don't want to take your word. You were talking about how LGBTQ black folks are getting certain recognition, and you said in relation to black people in general. And I was telling you that's because their relation. Of course, you don't remember now that I'm talking about.
He just said that he don't got the best memory.
Yeah, he said he don't.
He was talking about, he felt like LGBT plus black folks were getting more representation than black people. And I said, there's black, LGBTQ plus.
I see what you're saying.
And he was like, what did you say? It seems like they're getting more, attention to stuff that we've been asking for straight black people to be getting
for years. Yeah.
Because
And I was like-
LGBTQ
and I
is
was-
affected by white
folks.
That's what I was
Exactly.
saying. Yeah, because
Exactly.
queerness affects white people, then of
Exactly.
course it's going to be put on a pedestal.
Yeah, blackness just affects black people.
That's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
So with this whole pedophilia thing, of course, if it's going to primarily benefit like white pedophiles, like of course it's going to be pushed a certain way. And we already know this, wild, gross shit happened behind the scenes with the whole Epstein shit.
Yeah,
Like, that exposed all that stuff
Yeah.
happened a long time ago. I can see it getting out of control real quick. But also, like, if it's a mental health issue with pedophiles, I want to be able to help people like that.
And they can't, but in order to do that, you have to be able to identify yourself. So you can't.
That's what I'm saying, exactly.
Yeah.
So we can't just lock them up or kill them.
No, you can't. And that's a good point, man.
Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question before
Yeah.
we move on?
Speak.
Okay, so we're talking about how, I guess, whiteness pushes things forward.
Yes.
Right? How y'all feel about this pill epidemic?
Oh,
The opioid epidemic?
Again,
Because I'm fine with
again.
these white people burning.
Say it again. Like this the point. This that point that you're
I'm fine with
making.
all of them getting addicted. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Hey man, I remember how we was treated during crack. So I'm
I
gonna
know.
say,
Y'all are
bruh,
so
don't act
funny.
like this is something new.
Y'all are
This ain't
so
nothing
funny.
new. It ain't nothing new. But you're right. Like seriously, get some of y'all. You gotta get some. Look, you gotta get some of them just deserves. Y'all was pushing crack
That's
in
karma.
our neighborhood,
That's karma.
and now y'all got a new thing, and we don't even push this.
Yeah.
This pharmaceutical companies push this. Pfizer pushes this. It ain't us. We ain't pushing this. But yeah, you're dealing with the effects of it right now. And I will say I agree with you on this point. One thing I hate this. I know people ain't gonna like this. This is an uncommon.
This be the cancel podcast. This be your last podcast.
Nah, you have to watch out on this one. But one thing I don't like is I don't agree, and I don't like the idea and this whole thing created about having cultural crossover points. I hate that.
What you mean?
Because, all right, so what I see is this whole thing about, all right, so black LGBT are going to get more rights than black people. And the reason why is because, of course, white folks can identify with the LGBT side of it. So when it comes to that issue, if you go out and you have an issue, you let them know you can be black, but you let them know, hey, I'm gay first. Gay one, B two. You know what I'm saying? So they're gay first, they're black second. And the reason why that's so important is because politically it allows them to have access
To certain things.
Yes, and it's a real thing. So even for black women, right? Hold your blackness to the side. Be a female first. Now you got a bunch of white women allies. those white women allies are now able to push you and open up access to doors that you weren't able to get to because of your blackness that was holding you back. And that sucks because then at the end of the day, what it does is it forces you, in my opinion, this is what I've just, from paying attention to stuff, being a part of certain social justice warrior situations, marching with the white folks in the street. I used to lay on the ground in the darkness with them, and I used to do all this stuff. Kevin tell you. So I'm speaking from straight up. Yeah, I'm one of them people. I used to be rainbow flagging and hard, right? It was one thing I started to realize, it kept hitting me beside the head, is if I ever step up and I just say, hey, as a black person, this quiet, room get quiet. And I'm like, I thought y'all were my allies. All the allies depart and they run the other way.
But when you standing up for their rights.
Anything where we, quote unquote, have a cultural crossing point, then it's cool. And I'm like, no, but there are some times when we aren't going to cross over. I still need you to value me as a human.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff drops. And that's the part that I'm like, okay, I can't vibe with this anymore. It doesn't work. Like I told Kevin, I said, I can't do any more SJW stuff right now. I don't do that no more. And he was like, why? Because there's no winning game for anybody actually in that space. What you should be doing is just supporting people and valuing them as humans.
Mm-hmm.
Then we can start moving, because I can get with that, because there's no point where you're going to say, just because you're this or that, I'm going to give you more of a seat at the table, or I'm going to give you better access. I don't want that. I want access because I'm a human. And that's one of the things I've been dealing with. It's a weird situation.
That's a good topic.
I think that, I got so many thoughts on that.
I know you
I
would.
don't know how much time we got.
You got a little bit of time. We probably got a good 5 minutes.
Okay, I'll be quick. I see what you're saying. I do think you're being swayed by the commodification of activism, whatever space it is. Because anything that's for the people is going to be politicized and commodified instantly.
Exactly.
So I think you're being swayed by like how America treats the social justice movements. I think if you stay with the people, like the on the ground, because the queer people I'm in community with want the best for you just like they want the best for them. But they do realize that equity has to be a thing, because we can say we just want like humans to be better, but certain people need certain things more than other people.
Yeah.
Like we got
some resources. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Because man, we don't really worry about going to a club by ourselves, like being touched up by somebody. Like that. We don't really worry about that. But I'm sure a lot of women have to worry about stuff like that. So like we need to specifically address women in certain spaces like about that thing, right? We can't just say we want all humans to have a great experience at the club, because people need different things. So I think if you stay with the people and not get swayed by the social media, the commercialization of these movements, I think you can still say, I want to do something specifically for Black queer people, and not feel the way that you're feeling right now. And I think that's what we have to do, because, again, America will mess you up so bad the way you don't want to support nobody.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't. It feels like your energy is. It's just like the energy is being stolen and not redistributed.
That's what it does. Exactly.
It sucks you dry like a
so I'm like, I can't give you none of that. I can't give you no energy on it.
You can say the same exact thing about the Black Lives Matter movement, because like I'm sure everybody.
But that's why I never followed it.
But that's what I'm saying.
You see what I'm saying? Because it's the SJW movement. I don't follow social justice warriors.
But do you still believe that Black Lives Matter?
I follow humanity. Humanity matters.
But Black people still matter in your mind in a specific way.
No, but every life matters. That's my thing. I got to the point where it broke me. Like I cracked. I was just like, nah. Because what I realized is it's all still a hustle. Because I don't want to play in the zero-sum game. I don't think one man has to lose for me to win. And that's another thing. That's a hard thing to wrap your mind around. It'll crack. Okay, again, cracking the structure on things. I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I just don't want to do it anymore, because I realize it takes so much energy out to do it. I'd rather just take it and put it towards just a general aspect of treating humanity correct. It almost gets to Buddhism.
Love.
That's the point.
I'm wrong with Buddhism.
Yeah, that's my issue. It gets to that point where you're just like, okay, all right. Because as soon as I start, like you said, with commodification and soloing things out and putting it into sections, I can take my time to make sure I give this child more care, because I see that the child is in need of more care. I'm not going to commodify it. I'm not going to take it and say this is child A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, and this child. No, I see that the child is in need, so I'm going to give it.
Gotcha.
And it's weird, because it took me a long time to get to this point. Not that I'm right, because I know I will. My perspective is going to change in probably 6 months.
No, but I feel you though.
Yes.
I'm with you on the Buddhist, especially the spirituality tip. It has to be a point, because at the end of the day, these are all just identities we just put on ourselves.
Yeah, avatars.
But like that is the key to spiritual liberation. Is to shed all that shit, the black shit, the male shit, whatever. Put all that to the side and just be like, what about my spirit?
You are a human being having an You are having a human experience. Yeah.
So I get what you're saying. When you put it in the context, I feel what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want America to make you.
Yeah, I don't want. Here's the thing, and I don't want to discount anybody's experience either, and that's part of understanding that. I'm not trying to tell somebody that their experience is not worth it or that what they're going through doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm going to help you despite your experience.
Gotcha.
You don't even have to tell me just what you need.
Because sometimes you gotta leave people. You gotta leave people where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's true. So sometimes you gotta get down in the mugs. But back to what we were talking about real quick, and we'll keep moving. All right, so that book that we were talking about is Alan Walker. This person, they are a trans professor. And I believe they're a professor. Let me see what school. I think it's in D.C. or Washington. But the name of the book is called A Long Dark Shadow. And the reason why the person did this, and this is why I like that you said, they made the book wrote the book because they want people who are experiencing those issues to not run away or hide themselves, because then you can't get assistance. And I believe that Old Dominion. Yep, Old Dominion. And so the professor had to end up actually quitting because
this motherfucker's about to kill their ass.
Yeah, you already know it because
they subscribe to being like a minor attracted person.
Yeah.
Okay.
I gotta read this book. You
gotta read that book, man. Yeah. You gotta go read that book. But it's interesting because, like you said, when you talk about being your authentic self, this person's trying to be their authentic self. Yeah. And they getting smacked in the face for being authentic. And they went through all that. Look at it.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I've been wanting to have this conversation, but I will admit I've been held back from even wanting to do it on the podcast because I know people ain't ready to
talk about it.
Yeah, like
we're gonna sound like sickos, like off the rail.
Yeah. No,
you have a daughter.
Yeah, it's a weird conversation because I remember we were having this conversation on our previous podcast. He said, "What are you talking about?"
That's what I'm saying.
"Bro, you think I'm lying?" He said, "You got to be joking." Nah, this real.
That's with black people.
Yes, we don't play with that. We don't play with that.
This might get the most views.
Like,
we'll keep y'all posted.
Everything. They was talking about everything.
Oh goodness.
But into something a little bit more lighthearted, man. You like bell hooks?
I love bell hooks.
Can you tell the audience about bell hooks and who bell hooks is?
Man, if you don't know bell hooks, just look her up. Amazing feminist. She actually passed away. It'll be a year ago, December 15th, as a matter of fact.
True.
Black feminist. So many good books. All About Love is actually my Bible. Actually, I've given that book. I've literally bought that book so many times and given it away every single time I get the chance.
Really?
Because if we'll tell you, I'm all about love in general. All About Love is like definitely how we just get back to ourselves. Just stable community, an actual community. We say the word community a lot, but I don't think people be meaning that. But just how to love yourself and others. Other ones, teaching to transgress. Talking about being like radical in the classroom. Every man should definitely read The Will to Change. Which I'm sure most men have heard about by now. But The Will to Change, I will say, because people, a lot of people like to hate feminists, especially men like to hate feminists.
Yeah.
Bell Hooks was probably the most male, graceful, like feminist of all time. Like, most balanced. Like she's the only feminist I know has written a whole book just about men and how to treat men better, so we can treat everyone better in return.
Speak on it. That's what I tell people. Yeah,
just like I said, beautiful, beautiful woman. If nothing else, check out those books I mentioned. But if you ain't got time to read, she did a series on YouTube. It was really at this university in New York called the New School. It's a series of talks where she just talked with different like activists and celebrities, and those talks. Like, if you could just binge watch those talks, any of them, just type in Bell Hooks, the New School. Talks with Cornell West, with Laverne Cox, the trans
Laverne Cox.
Queer artists, just social, like, community organizers, like, anybody you can think of. Just a series of beautiful talks that she did before she passed away. And just check those out, man. Just watch, just listen to her words. She ain't always right. She had some
It's a perspective, though. And I like that. Yeah. I like that. The perspective.
Sure.
That's what you're looking at it for.
And that's, like I said, it's man, woman, anybody else. Just check out Bell Hooks, man. She's phenomenal.
And what do you guys have coming up? We know your birthday is next week. So happy early birthday.
It's gonna be lit.
I see y'all having a paintball session.
Yes. We're playing paintball. We have an elaborate dinner that I invited too many people to. Probably do something later that night.
I don't know where all these people going to fit.
I don't know. It's the smallest restaurant. Yeah, we're going to be outside in the cold.
I'm going to say, where y'all be? I'm going to show up too.
It's going to be, I won't put on a podcast.
Don't do that.
Not in general. We finally getting back on track with the podcast because like I said, we kept taking these sabbaticals because we felt like we didn't have anything productive to talk about. I personally have an artist collective called New Growth, where it's all about sustaining artists, basically. And I started a series where we're giving free therapy to artists, basically. With my good friend, Jay Little, Forward Counseling. Definitely look him up, Forward Counseling, Jay Zachary Little. We do a whole dinner, and then we have a whole group therapy session. And then people have the chance to link up with him personally, which people have, which I'm so happy about that. People have linked up with him for personal sessions, for one-on-one.
Beautiful.
So we're doing that all next year, starting in March. So if you're interested in that, please email me at ink4848@gmail.com. If you're just interested in being, like I said, completely free, we'll feed you food and just mental stability.
That sounds cool. Kind of like
That is
what we
dope.
doing, but on a different level.
That's
But
dope.
create.
That's dope.
That's the main thing I'm doing right now.
What you got going on, my man?
I'm going to work on Monday.
Understood. See, I
You're so funny.
light.
He's so right.
You getting a Christmas
He's
present?
being
Do y'all
realistic.
celebrate Christmas?
Yeah, we celebrate.
We do the stuff. We don't.
Is that
Yes,
me
I
spending
am.
money? Is that worth a night?
Yeah, it is, I guess. I always ask people this because you know how it is nowadays. We done read too many books. So y'all do Christmas?
I hate
No.
celebrating holidays now.
No.
I just
but
do it
will-
It's
family.
not
I will-
enjoyable.
Yeah, I tell people because like once you know too much.
It's hard to go back.
I know, that's a curse. Yo, get the internet away from us, y'all. Let's have to go and
Listen.
find books because,
Yeah.
like, when you had to go find the information back in the day and then you learn it slowly over time, it allows you to like fall into it as opposed to just being smacked in the head with it, and then you start acting like a zealot.
Yeah.
So I try not to
People
act like a
you're so
zealot.
jaded. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, you just ask yourself why. Why am I celebrating this?
Listen.
And
I
he
don't
can't
wanna be
explain
here.
it. Yeah, and he can explain it, and you're like, okay, I'm just here because.
Yeah.
Because
So y'all won't call me.
yeah, I don't
And
know
be
if
like,
you
where
ever
you
heard-
at?
No,
They're gonna be
that's
like,
the
where you
thing.
at? Why
Because you get a call, you get a text. What's going on with you? Are you out here on the streets?
you in a
Are
dark
you okay?
place?
Yeah.
No, I'm
Do you
perfectly
married?
fine.
So
Where's
y'all
your
don't even
wife?
the married question. Ooh. Y'all don't even go for the food and just
Nah, the food's cool. The food's cool, but
Dang.
First off, my family likes to celebrate sports and all this stuff,
Yeah,
and
watch
I
this.
just believe
Look at
like
it.
it's all politics. I don't really
Don't mess with
watch
that.
like football and all this stuff. So
Mhm.
my grandma literally thinks that's bonding, and I'm like, that's not bonding.
she ain't asked you what bonding was.
No,
Plus-
like my
plus
grandma's
Tamaya-
different. She just
Tamaya,
really likes
Do
sports.
you want a heavy meal of meat and carbs?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No,
Every time.
Absolutely.
and then they don't cater to what other people
Yeah, eat.
eat.
That is
You know,
very
that's
true.
not fair.
Oh, yeah,
Why
they-
am I?
Better not bringing no vegan options at the.
Ugh.
No, I like vegan food. I like
Yeah.
You
vegan
see how
food.
clean her skin
But
is?
I will
Yeah, no, I love
eat
playing with it.
regular food. But it's,
Right.
if the majority of the food is not what I eat, why am
Why
I
you gonna be
here?
there? It's not for you.
Because your people there, your family.
Because it's tradition.
That's not a selling point for you, your
That's
family?
not. I understand that, but I'm
I'll
not
see him
going to
next.
sell.
I'll see him tomorrow.
I'm not going to sell
Right.
my
Okay,
true,
let's see.
authentic self to be in a space with people that don't. You see what I'm
I
saying?
feel that shit.
Yeah.
I'm a
Speed.
bounce.
I guess like me, my family, we don't like put on
No shows.
for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just who we are. Like we loud.
Yeah.
Loud as hell.
Ooh, so, we so loud.
We're like a
Loud.
loud family all the time.
And we just vibe. You know, the older, I call them the elders at this point, because everybody over 60.
Yeah.
You know, they still do their little thing. But the younger generation,
We're different.
a
Yeah.
couple of them sell weed.
Say it.
Like we out here. We
Different.
just being real. So yeah.
Before we sign off, though, I do have to ask this question, and then we're gonna go ahead and get y'all out of here. I like what you just said. This is one thing I keep pushing this point. You know they about to hand the keys over to us, right?
Got the keys.
They
The
ain't got
keys. The
They ain't got no
keys.
choice.
They got no choice, right?
Mhm.
They got to hand the keys over. Do you think that the world's gonna be in a good place when we got the keys to the car? Do y'all trust yourselves? That's the
Ooh, I
question I'm
love it.
asking.
Pessimistic. Go ahead.
So I don't have any hope for humanity.
I love his take on things. I really do.
I really don't. I think while we are becoming more, I guess, intelligent because of the information we have access to, we're not using it properly.
Mm-mm.
Like it's just splitting
His
us further
intelligence
apart.
has turned into opinionation.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, we're just being opinionated.
Mm-hmm.
and then like we don't have face-to-face interactions like that anymore.
Good point.
Pandemic, social media. You just getting this real jaded in your own bubble. You only hear from the same people who believe the same things, kind of
Mhm.
thing.
Mm.
So nobody's really learning from each other. We're not. I don't think as the masses, like we're going to progress forward very well at all.
That is a very
That's what I'm
very
saying.
interesting and positive take on that.
But my family, we're gonna be good.
Y'all gonna be in a bunker.
Me and mine.
Yeah, me and
Me and
mine, we're gonna be
mines.
straight.
It's gonna be in a bunker by themselves.
I'm getting my bunker together though. I hear you.
What's so funny is like I agree with Will, but I think that in itself isn't sustainable
Mhm.
because human beings will always find a way to survive, right?
Mhm.
So I think humans will do what it takes to survive. So if we know that we're being more and more distant, having less and less, I guess, self-identity, less and less love for ourselves and one another, like we'll naturally change. If we want to survive, we will naturally change that.
Yep.
So I think all hyper-production, hyper-capitalism, it's
Go ahead, say it.
no, it's
Abolish it and then go to love.
but this is what I mean.
Hey, you say, I already know what you gotta say.
That's the truth. But when I say abolition, people think I just blow up the world and
Yeah,
just
that's not
go
that.
to
It's not that.
Stone Age. What I'm saying
Replace
is
it. Replace it with something.
this shit. Replace it with something
yes.
that works.
Yes.
This hyperproduction and everything, just all this material in the water, all this poisons in the air and shit. We have to change.
Yeah.
If we don't survive, then we won't survive.
Mm-hmm.
But if we do survive, it has to be abolition in the form of just doing something else that will work and keep us sustained and in contact with one another. And
You sold me on the abolition idea.
that's what I'm saying.
No, you
When
sold me
people
on
just
that.
hear the word, they get scared.
I
But when
know.
just say, like,
Yeah, they do.
I'm glad y'all
That
broke
word.
it down because I was one of those people.
That makes
so.
you, you're like,
Yeah.
abolition of
I was
what
kind of
sort?
worried.
Yeah, nah, you sold me on
Second.
the abolition idea, though. I heard that one and I understood it when I was like, okay, yeah, I get with that.
So how can people find y'all on social media, stay in contact with you, subscribe, follow, share?
Yeah, where do you work at, Will?
I'm not gonna
They
give that
gonna
out.
call him. They gonna find
Right.
him.
I'm not gonna give that out. I work
White people
a
just-
whole lot of white conservatives. Whole lot of white
Y'all are
conservatives.
so stupid.
But you can catch the podcast, Cultivated Ignorance, on Instagram. You can find it on all platforms, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple, wherever.
Title.
if you literally just think, I don't think we're gonna
I'm
touch.
joking. It's about it.
Listen,
Fuck me up.
You gotta expose it. Everything but title. But I think if you literally just Google culture, I am proud of this. If you just Google Cultivated
Y'all
Ignorance
pop up.
podcast,
Yeah,
we
sure.
pop up at the top.
No,
baby.
seriously, y'all
you
don't-
ain't gotta look for
Y'all
it.
done broke the
Yeah.
Google joint, yo, for real. The algorithm's them. They're the
Very
only
proud
ones
of
that ain't
that.
got nothing to do with that.
I think it's a lot because of the stream listeners. Like,
Yeah.
that we don't promote the YouTube like we should, but like streams, like the streamers be listening. That's
Yeah,
all.
no, seriously.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, y'all
What's up?
episodes are dope.
Thank
Tune
y'all,
in,
man.
you guys. I
Y'all
was
dope,
on the
man.
episode.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Oh, that was
With,
another great episode with
yeah.
Kyla.
Kylie. You know we got the same birthday.
No,
That
what?
was so crazy. I thought y'all planned that or something.
No.
Yeah, me and her have the same birthday. I
Wow.
looked at it. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
That's another one of my favorite episodes with y'all on it.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a great
Feminism.
episode.
Yeah.
That was great. Y'all are great, man. Thank y'all for even having us on here.
Oh,
Absolutely.
no
appreciate
problem.
y'all coming
We
and
love
blessing
to
us,
market,
making us feel
cross
special.
market.
Y'all are special. Like I told
Nah,
Kevin, man,
man.
y'all one of the only podcasts I know that just immediate artists and community members, like y'all are really, really great about that. We need to get better about that. We reach out to everybody,
Yeah.
but like y'all be putting Columbia, especially on the map, yo, and I love that. And surrounding areas on the map. And I
You
love
gotta
that
love your people, man. You gotta rub their backs, man.
for sure.
Make them feel good about themselves. I always tell people I like hand-to-hand combat. Yeah.
The beating people up.
Hand in
with
hand.
that?
No, what I mean by that, I always tell people, they're like, oh,
What?
they're confused. What's that mean? Hand-to-hand combat is what we were just speaking about earlier with like having interactions with people
Oh,
face
okay.
to
Well,
face.
say that next
Because-
time.
No, man, it sounds better when you say hand.
Right, me too.
Street Fighter, right? You. No, I'm teasing. But signing out today, man. I really enjoy having y'all today. Y'all,
Yes.
Absolutely.
y'all,
Thank y'all for
y'all,
having us.
Y'all
the
are
best.
funny.
DJing what? Tamaya,
What up?
right? Skip over here in the background.
Yep.
We want to thank the host of the Cultivated Ignorance podcast for joining us today, Mr. William Patterson, Mr. Michael Murray.
I'm just a dad.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much. Of course, we're going to speak with y'all again. I know we'll have some things coming up in the future. And of course, we will be on the podcast, so we'll get to see y'all. Hopefully, y'all better have us up there.
Absolutely.
That was
Bring us on
1,000%.
the podcast.
Go
Absolutely.
ahead, Tamaya. We gotta get
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Signing out. Happy Saturday, everybody. Be safe. Love the people you're around. Share some good food or something. Give somebody a dap or a
Send me a
high
birthday
five.
present. Thank you.
Yeah. Matter of fact, send some. Yo, do you got a Cash App?
I have a Zelle. Oh shit.
Girl, plug it.
Plug it.
Damn, what is
Do it
that?
while I get a chance.
Email is ink again.
This is the worst plug of all.
Send any amount of money you want to send to ia4848@gmail.com. I do take checks. So you can whatever.
Y'all send them checks. Make sure they post dated.
Checks.
Make sure they post dated. All right, y'all. Peace, love. One.
That's it for today's episode of the Hilltop Glove Podcast. Make sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and other platforms. Also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Hilltop Glove.